We're now going to look at different types of tests of association between similar types of data. First, we're going to look at nominal and nominal data, or categorical data, non-metric data. We're going to take a look and we're going to do a chi-square statistic with crosstabs. That's going to allow us a greater level of analysis with this data. We're going to hit Analyze, Descriptives, Crosstabs. I had already set this up. We're going to take Store out. We're going to see made a purchase, statistics, make sure the chi-square is clicked. Hit Continue. Cells, we want to make sure that the observed, expected, row, column, and total are all clicked as well. We hit OK, and what we find is that there is a weak relationship going on between whether or not somebody has made a purchase or whether or not they've had contact with an employee. Now, in some disciplines, engineering, they use 0.1 as a significance level. In business, we tend to use 0.5. I would say this is this is a 0.069, which is greater than 0.05 but less than 0.1. So we could say it's a weak association that's going on. Now, this is again the difference between the expected and the actual count that happens is what this statistic is based on. And what we can see is that there are more people that made a purchase and also had contact with an employee than would have been probabilistically expected. What would have been expected by probabilities was basically 204. What we have is 214. So, that's that weak association we're talking about. Also, there are fewer people that did not make a purchase than we would have expected based on the probabilities. And here we go with an 89.1 versus the 79. So that's the relationship that we're seeing here. Now let's take a look at what we have here. Of those that made a purchase, okay, so within made a purchase, yes or no. So this is how many made a purchase yes. 52.8 had contact with an employee. Within contact with an employee, 73% actually of those that had contact with an employee, 73% also made a purchase. So it's very important when we do actually make contact. So here's the way to look at it. Who made a contact with an employee? 73% yes, 27% no, that made purchases, or that in this. 73% of those that did make a contact with the employee did in fact make a purchase. So briefly, that's a way to look at this and have that output explained. So let's see if there's a relationship between the stores and whether or not there was a purchase. So again, I'm going to go to Analyze Descriptives, and I'm going to go to Crosstabs. I'm going to take the making a purchase out. I'm going to put the store in. And again, remember, these are non-parametric statistics, the chi-square, so it's not generalizable to the population, but it's appropriate for this sample. Again, I double check, chi-square, continue, the cells observed, expected, row, column, total, continue, and OK. And what we find is that, yes, there is a relationship between the store and whether or not people have made a purchase. So what do we find? Or I'm sorry, not whether or not they made a purchase, but whether or not there's contact with an employee. So this idea that if there's a relationship between contacting an employee and purchasing, then the better the contact, that would be something we want to monitor. So in store 1, we see that 54% did not and 45% did. Store 2, it's the opposite. 57% did, 46% did not. Store 3, 59% did not, 40% did. And store 4, 56% did while 43% did not. So looking at that, we can see that we would want to talk to the managers of store 1 and store 4. I'm sorry, yeah, store 1 and store 3, and ask them to improve the employee contact with customers as they come in. That would be the type of a managerial outcome that we could do from this, and what we would be pulling from these tables that would give us some answers. So let's take a look at another type of a test of association, and we're going to look at the relationship between two variables, and we're going to do the correlation test. And this tells both degree and direction. Now the correlation is bounded between -1 and 1. A negative number indicates a negative correlation. That means as one variable goes up, the other variable goes down. If it's a positive correlation, both variables move in the same direction. As one goes up, the other goes up. It does not mean that it's a bad relationship to be negative. It simply means the direction of that relationship. So let's take a look at a correlation between some variables. Let's hit Analyze, and we're going to be doing correlations, so it's correlate, and we're going to be doing bivariate correlations. And I'd placed some variables in here already. I'm sorry. So let's take those out and let's put them back in. So again, variety, service satisfaction, item quality satisfaction, and then overall satisfaction. So we're going to see, is there a relationship between variety, service, and item quality in the customer's overall satisfaction? Now here we have, here we have the correlation table, and we're interested primarily in what are the variables that contribute to overall satisfaction. We've got the other interrelationships, but let's take a look at what impacts overall satisfaction. And what we see is that variety is positively correlated at a 0.572 and statistically significant, way less than 0.05. So that's a good correlation. Service satisfaction is a stronger correlation of 0.602, and that's again highly significant. And then item quality satisfaction is 0.457 and highly significant. So of these, the strongest correlation with overall satisfaction is service satisfaction. And again, how do we get service? It would be contact with the employee. So again, or with the customer. The employee is contacting the customer. So again, this becomes an important variable for us, something that we'd really want to look at and stress with our management team. That ends this example, and thank you very much.